I'm Sharon Isbin. I had the guitar program at the Juilliard School, which I created in 1989, and at the Aspen Music Festival. Well, I joined the Grammy organization, the Recording Academy, some time ago, and was fortunate to win my first Grammy in 2001 for an album called Dreams of a World. It was a solo album. And then in 2010, received a Grammy for Journey to the New World. And along the way, there was also another disc that was of concerti written for me by Chris Rouse and Tan Dunn that got a Grammy as well. Well, when it first happened, I really did not expect it at all. I was already hearing in my mind the names of the pianists who were going to win just to prepare myself. And then when my name was announced, I thought I was in some kind of alternate universe. But I went up on stage, dutifully accepted, and was really thrilled with the result. And I think it just is so nice when there's an acceptance by your peers, by the institution, and it really opens a lot of doors. Well, I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be a musician, I wouldn't be a guitarist if I hadn't had incredible mentors. And for me, it's not only something that I feel is necessary to give back, but it's a real joy to work with some of the most talented students in the world, both at Juilliard and at Aspen, and to really have a chance to interact with them. And I learned lots of things about music as well from my students, but it's a really wonderful integration of what's happening now and the future. Well, when I work with students, I really try to give them whatever guidance will enable them to teach themselves. So I hope to become redundant in the process. And I think that's important because the student has to understand the why of what you're explaining. So if I'm doing something complicated like contrapuntal fingering in Bach, so that the voices can ring over each other and you can understand the relationship of how the left hand and the right hand work in order to create the most optimal musical fingering, then not only must they hear the result, but they have to be able to figure out how to do it for themselves as well. So I like that challenge. I've always grown up with a scientific bent of problem solving. So for me, hearing someone play, figuring out what sounds great, what needs to be improved, and to explain that is a process that I really love doing. And I love hearing the immediate results that happen when they apply the advice I'm giving them. Well, unlike orchestral instruments, the guitar really has only a few choices when you're pursuing a career, either as a soloist, chamber musician, or teaching. And I've had students at Juilliard from over 20 different countries, and many of them have gone back to become the premier players in their countries. So that's something I'm really very proud of. Some will go into arts administration, some will become composers or arrangers, some will go out of the music field, but most of the kids that I have are of such a high level, they will find their way. Well, I think the Grammy Award, because it's from all kinds of divergent styles. You've got pop, rock, jazz, folk, classical, everything combined into one. It's a real symbol of acceptance and acclaim in the music world. So it's part of a community. It's the music community. And I think it's one that is recognized internationally. So it'll bump up sales, it'll bump up your visibility in the music world, and really give you the opportunity, which is the most important part, for me anyway, to do more projects that I really believe in. Well, in 2001, when I received the Grammy for Dreams of a World, it was a solo album I'd put together. It was all folk-inspired music. There were 8 different world premieres. There was music that was written for me on the album, arrangements that had been made for me. So it was something that really brought new literature, new repertoire to the instrument, to the public. And that's important too. You have to be saying something different, new, that no one has ever done before. And what was so special about that moment, it was the first time in 28 years that a classical guitarist had received a Grammy. So it opened a lot of doors for other people as well. Well, for example, you're interviewing me here at the Aspen Music Festival, and I was a student here in the 70s. And there was one summer I remember coming to the festival. There were 50 guitar students, and only 2 of us were girls. I was a young kid at the time. So that meant to me I had to really become my very best that I could so there'd be no question of gender. And that was something that really has guided me throughout. I think that one of the ways that I've had to approach my career, I've had to make sure that the issue of gender was not a factor in the guitar world, but I also had to fight as a guitarist in the music world, because this is not an instrument that just came readily accepted. And one of the things that really worked by chance is that I've always been fascinated with commissioning and working with contemporary composers. So I've had some amazing people write for me, people like John Coriano, Christopher Rouse, Tan Dunn, Joan Tower, Joseph Schwantner, Lucas Foss, Aaron Kernis. The list really goes on. And in fact, one of the albums that received a Grammy was by two composers who wrote for me. That was Christopher Rouse and Tan Dunn. So by creating music in collaboration with composers from the mainstream, it made many, many orchestras. I've played with over 170 orchestras at this point. It's made them want to have a guitar soloist because they wanted to hear this music. So it's been exciting to see that process really open, again, many doors and expand the horizon of the instrument. Well, I'm actually celebrating my 25th anniversary here of heading the guitar program. And I think one of the reasons this has been such a remarkable place that lures artists and students is that it's so beautiful. You have the mountains, the Rocky Mountains. It's just a majestic, magical environment in which to make music and to be inspired to make music. And the festival has now over 300 activities in the course of the 8 weeks, and 5 orchestras, a wonderful relationship and ratio of faculty to students. We've got just over 600 students. So there's a lot of personalized, individualized attention. I teach master classes here. I'll do 9 classes during the course of the 4 weeks, and students can come from all over the world to participate, and they're all open to the public in my case. So it's interaction again with the community. I think it's just a beautiful combination of environment and wonderful management that brings in such skilled, inspiring people. I'm really an accidental guitarist in that when I was 9 years old, our family moved to Italy for a year, and I was not planning to take up the instrument. My brother asked to take lessons, and when he discovered it was classical, he bowed out and I took his place. So by default, I ended up studying with a teacher who was concertizing all over Italy and had studied with Segovia. I even had the honor later on of having lessons with Segovia myself. So the instrument immediately attracted me because it was very personal. It actually had to be built for me. I was 9 years old, so it was a little smaller than normal. And you cradle it, you caress it, you produce the sound with your fingertips. There's no pick involved. It's the nail and the flesh. And it really is an expression of your soul. And I think that intimacy drew me to the instrument and still does now. And the beauty of what you can create with it, it really is a part of you.